I always wanted to be the first Michael Phelps because I wanted to do things differently than everybody else. So for me, when I went through a span of 5 or 6 years where I didn't miss a single day of training, 365 days a year.
A few decades back now, there's this guy named Earl Nightingale, he did a survey of all the success literature. You know, there's all this stuff coming about how to be successful, all this self-help stuff, and he started reading all of it. And he wanted to know what was common among all those. And he only found one thing. Successful people make a habit of doing things that failures don't like to do.
So it is a process to go through when you want to be successful at something. It's not, I mean, if you look at the city wasn't built in a day, right? So, you know, it takes time to truly reach your goals and reach your potential. And through that process, you will have ups and you will definitely have downs. But I think that's, you know, for me, when I had my downs, that's where I was able to have the support that I had. And you know, for me, always wanting to get better, always wanting to get stronger, and that process, like I said, now I can look at myself in the mirror and be happy with who I see.
So when I say that champions like challenges, a lot of the stuff that goes into these performances you see every 4 years is incredibly boring, tiring, difficult, tedious, and absolutely necessary. That's 90% of what you do. So I think you lose a lot of people along the way because they think that when I have this dream and it charges me up so much, this whole thing's just going to be everyday inspiration. That's not true at all. It's everyday perspiration. You're going to go in there and work, and you're going to work, and you're going to be frustrated. You're going to keep working. You're going to be frustrated. And every now and then you'll get a little glimpse of what might happen. And on most days there's something you can point to that went well, but some days you can't. And I think that's a big key, to be able to mentally handle that and to mentally know that. And I'm not sure we're teaching kids that these days. That's why I love sports. That's why I love swimming, because I think it's so valuable. I think now everybody wants something today. They want immediate gratification. Swimming is all about delayed gratification. And I think that is an important concept in every field.
There are a lot of athletes who, talented, mentally driven, who are great athletes. But what do you think it is that separates out those athletes to become the incredible, ultimate elite athletes, the Jordans, the Gretzkys?
And you know, over the last 2 years, I really I changed my whole life, really. You know, I focused everything on the sport. You know, I was in bed by 10 o'clock. You know, I was getting the right amount of recovery. I was taking care of my body away from the pool. So all the little small things that I did in my earlier stages of my career, I went back to and did them this time around. That I wanted to do something that nobody had ever done before. And that started with a dream and a goal. I wanted to be the greatest of all time. I went 5 straight years without missing a single day of workout, 365 days a year. Every single day I was in the water. And in the sport of swimming, when you miss one day, it takes you 2 days to get back. So I was already I was continuing to build on that throughout that time. And you know, that was kind of just how I was. There are days you're not going to want to do it, sure. I mean, everybody has those days. But it's what you do on those days that help you move forward.
All great performers have to overcome problems. You know, you see Michael Phelps or anybody who performs at a high level, well, they're just talented, right? They have this 7-foot wingspan, flexible ankles, some heart that's 3 times the size of everybody else. I don't know about that one, but I know that during this process, Michael Phelps went for 6 years without ever missing a day of training, 365 days a year. And I know that because I was there Christmas morning, you know, New Year's, Thanksgiving, you name it. We always swam. And it wasn't something that he was made to do. It's something he made me do. I would have been happy not to do it. He insisted on it because he wanted to be the best ever.
When I said I wanted to win 8 gold medals, basically half the people in the swimming world thought I was absolutely crazy and nobody could ever do something like that. But for me, I was somebody who believed in it and somebody who believed in the process of getting there. I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight, like I said before. But every little small thing that we did was a small stepping stone in order to even be able to have that chance and that opportunity to do what I did in 2008. So, you know, when I say from 2002 to 2008 was basically trial and error. So for me, in 2002, that's really when I started amping up my event schedule, where I was swimming 4 to 5 individual events and having a couple relays at Pan Pacs, World Championships, major international competitions throughout that time frame. Because at that time, at the Olympic Games, that's a tough, that's where I think the real truth comes out. Because I think there are a lot of people who are very talented who can make it there. There are very few people who can deal with the pressure and the stress that happens when we're there. So that's why I say we had to make sure that we were physically, emotionally, and mentally ready, because I had to be ready to be able to kind of manage my emotions through that week. Yeah, winning a gold medal is absolutely incredible. There's nothing better than standing on the podium listening to your national anthem play after you had just won a gold medal. But for me, I'm somebody who I knew that I had 7 other events after the first day. So I have to throw that in the back of my head. I got to throw that race out. Even though if I, even like in 08, I broke a world record, won my first gold medal. Like, I was like, cool, like things are starting really well. So I have to put that behind me to then get ready for the next race. And on top of that, I have to make sure I'm eating the right amount, I'm sleeping the right amount, my body is as fresh as I can possibly be. So that means sitting in an ice tank, getting massages, getting stretched, all of these small things that end up adding up to the major end result. And
along with all that tedious stuff comes a lot of failure. And I think today people protect their kids from failure. They don't want them to feel bad. They don't want them to hurt. They don't want them to do that. Right? And it's a huge mistake, because failure is where you learn the most. That's what makes you great. When you try something at the edge of your capabilities and you don't get there, then you have to sit back and say, okay, what could I have done better? How can I do something that's going to help me gain the capabilities to move past that barrier? What am I doing that's not working, right? And that's where you get the most out of it. If you protect your kids from failure all the time, they're never going to learn, and they're always going to be afraid. So champions are very good at handling failure, and that's how you learn to succeed, by learning how to handle failure.
Hopefully you can divulge this. What were you doing differently that your rivals were not, do you feel?
Working harder. Honestly, what I did wasn't rocket science. For me as a kid, I had dreams bigger than anybody else could ever dream, and I wanted to be the greatest. I wanted to be the best, and I think I always wanted to be the first Michael Phelps, because I wanted to do things differently than everybody else. So for me, when I went through a span of 5 or 6 years where I didn't miss a single day of training, 365 days a year, that made me different. I got 52 extra days each year than anybody else had. Every day is a new challenge, right? Every day is a challenge, is a day that we can prepare ourselves even more. So for us, we would call it putting money into the bank. So at the end of the year, when we had a major international competition, we could withdraw that money that we had saved throughout the year. And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, there were a lot of days where I did not want to get out of bed. And I guarantee you, if I ask the question here, if everybody is excited to get out of bed every single day, if I saw a hand, I'm going to blatantly call you a liar. Because we all know that is far from the truth. But if you have those little small goals, those little small things that get you excited when you don't want to, it's going to make it even better and even easier at the end when you're getting ready for a presentation at the end of the year, or this or that, whatever event you're leading up to. It's going to make it so much easier. And I think if you look at the greats in anything that, in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation.
Champions rehearse success on a daily basis, either physically or emotionally or psychologically. I tell my athletes, I've got to see some part of your race every day, not the whole thing. Maybe you need to practice visualization to rehearse mentally. It's very important. It's critical skill. You know why? Everyone has a very strongly held belief of who you are and what you're about, right? Your ego. And you have a vested interest in keeping that the way it is, so you know who you are, right? And you have all of these beliefs that you've built up over your life, and you have all of these circumstances, and you have all of your parents and friends and everybody else telling you kind of who you are, so you know who that is. When you set a goal, you're basically creating a picture of yourself in a different way. It's a different you. the picture of you as Olympic champion is different than you as the starting out swimmer who just won a state high school meet. Very different. What happens is your subconscious and your conscious will move to the mental picture that is strongest. So if your picture is, I'm not all that good, but I'm a pretty good swimmer, that's the way you're going to be. If your picture is, I'm the Olympic champion, I will do whatever it takes to get there, I will think about it all the time, I will visualize myself doing it, I will see myself doing it, that's where things start to move. Visualization is key in any sort of goal-oriented activity. The best person in the world of visualization, I promise, is Michael Phelps. In any sport, in anything. He's always been good at visualization. I've encouraged him to do it. I taught him how to do it in a little thing. And he runs constant videos in his heads of his races. And he'll run them like he's sitting in the stands watching himself swim. He'll watch it like he'll see a visualization like he's swimming, what it looks like while he's swimming. And then he'll visualize what happens if something goes wrong in my race. What if somebody swims differently than I think they will? What if I don't go out as quickly as I want? How will I overcome those things? So he visualizes all of that and he programs himself so that when he gets up to race, he doesn't have to think about it. He's just got this bank of visualization.